but I don't know.
I just think it's funny that
I didn't think it was. Look, it's your show, so you're making it. You don't have any rules that you're living by, like, say, a Star Wars universe or a Star Trek or anything like that. So you can say that it's just him and Mark doing it. You don't need to add a dramatic piece of, like, he changed the sky again, so now you got to have...
See, that was my problem with it, is they should have just gone... I don't know why they broke their own rule,
right?
And showed it with like they made it a point to show reaction shots, and I was like, you don't have to show the reaction shots. And like we were talking about, you could have just made it that it was jackals. Like the gods see it, the gods can do this, and the avatars can, but not everybody else.
Yeah, and then here's another really stupid thing. I fucking guarantee you there is a goddamn Google app that can show you what night skies looked like at different points in history. You don't want to know how? Because it's math. Because it's math. It's math. We can calculate what the North Sky looked like during the time of the pharaohs because we calculate what they're doing now, and then we work backwards.
Yeah, but Tyler,
what
was the point of having the moon
sky?
god?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, is that it was completely unnecessary. Again, it was really cool, and I enjoyed it, but when you look at it like as a cynicist, I guess, in a cynical way, you're like, well, you really didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I think it was the point that once they got it there, that she was all running around with her fucking, I got to make sure I get it all. Like, shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me? Oh, you better hold it so she can skip. That's ridiculous.
I don't like that the show is making Steven the main character. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't really like Steven. I mean, I do.
I will say,
do, but like I've already seen 2 episodes of him being scared and weird and neurotic.
Right.
Like I don't need to see any like.
But there were a lot of Mark Spector moments in this episode.
Yes, this was Mark's
cool,
episode, but clearly Steven is filling a role.
Right. But my favorite part in the episode was when he went off away from everybody and gave the body back to Steven.
Yeah.
That was a masterclass of acting. To me, the best acting happens, what is it called? It's very subtle.
Yeah.
It's facial expressions and body language, and it's not something you say or do. Like I said, in The Invention of Lying, there's a moment where Ricky Gervais says something to Jennifer Garner's character, and she reacts in a way you can see her emotions going through her facial features, but she doesn't change that much. It's very subtle. Like it's like her eye kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of the best, my favorite pieces of acting because it's so subtle, but she does everything she needs to convey. And that's the same thing with that moment with Mark and Steven, is that he really sells that he's 2 different people. Mm-hmm. I'm not sitting there going, wow, Oscar Isaac is a good actor. I'm like, wow, that's 2 different people sharing a body.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's someone with DID, yeah.
I liked that.
Like,
that was one of my favorite parts.
And I like that they picked up the pace.
Yeah.
I do like that this is a much faster moving episode. People that I've talked to, that's been their biggest issue with the first couple episodes. Has just been too slow, and I understand that. I think they're look. You haven't experienced slow burn storytelling until you've watched the fucking Halo show. Okay, so
I guess
dude. After that first episode, it is all. And I'm not here to review that show.
You're like,
the gist of it is, it's okay for me. I do hope that show picks up the action like Moon Knight here. Mm-hmm. So I get that. I understand being like, okay, because we live in this world where it's like, this is the problem. There's too many shows to watch.
Right.
And if we don't have a show hooking us right away, really getting us into it, we're like, I have been meaning to watch this other thing, so I'll just go watch that.
Well, I will say, like, episode 4 better give me quite a bit of exposition. Okay? Well, I need some now.
I need to know what... I don't know. I feel like I've gotten enough of it, but I need to know why they hate... I need to know why they hate Khonshu so much.
Right. And I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't use the opportunity of avatars to introduce some more fucking characters to the MCU. Why not?
I think...
Just saying.
Well...
Could have.
I don't know.
None of those people are Egyptian, so it's not like that was the whole thing holding them back.
I think that...
If that,
I don't know, because we're going to get to the point, I think, with Love and Thunder where we're going to introduce like all these pantheons exist, because that's the whole point of gore.
True.
And I think that maybe they're being, which is why I think I agree with you, and like, why are they being so coy if we know that gods exist now, because we're going in the more,
but
Midnight Sun. Again, I don't know if they're going to make a Midnight Suns, but they're going in that more paranormal, supernatural realm.
We did forget to talk about, and I'm sure you liked this part too, because I when I was watching it, I was like, I'm sure we're both digging on this. But when so everybody else like was channeling their avatar, and obviously Mark Spector was kind of resisting. So whenever he talked as Khonshu,
oh my gosh,
he looked like his eyes were like going opposite directions. Like, he was so like,
that makes
I thought that was cool too.
I think that's subtle. It
wasn't.
It's not necessarily subtle, but I think that the
it could have been way over the top.
The performance is broad, right?
Yeah.
But I think the subtlety of the storytelling is that all these other avatars are in a good relationship, and Khonshu has to fight Mark. So which I didn't even think of until you kind of brought that up. But you're right. Every time he talks, he's shouting, and everybody else is having a conversation, and he's screaming. And it's also adds to Khonshu the character, because they all hate him.
Yeah.
And he clearly is not a good god. I mean,
he seems like a dick.
He's manipulating,
but
Mark.
neither does Amit. I mean,
that's
worth.
But that's the point of Moon Knight. The avatars are being manipulated by the gods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What?
One thing I liked was I think I don't know how they what order they shoot stuff in, and obviously F. Murray Abraham's performance is voice only. I don't think he's at all mocap or anything like that weird. So you got to believe that at some point before that scene was filmed, that either Oscar Isaac had heard part of Murray Abraham's performance, or maybe he's on set talking to him.
Probably
behind.
It's probably an earpiece.
You think?
That's usually what they do.
Because that's the other thing too that we're kind of missing, is that he also subtly is kind of playing off F. Murray Abraham's performance too, in his own way, as Mark Spector channeling Khonshu. I thought that was neat.
I know they've done stuff like they have a earpiece in there, so
you can. Time for my rant.
You can hear them talking to you.
I'm so ready for it.
There's more to this. There's more that I want to talk about. I think the big fight scene where Mark becomes Moon Knighty. Which I think I've heard that this next episode is more Moon Knight, which I hope, because I feel like we haven't got enough Moon Knight.
Right.
He's only shown up like the first two episodes. He doesn't show up.
My biggest criticism in 3 was that we've already seen him.
But that fight was so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking sweet.
But they just, I don't know, man. I'm getting to a point where it's like, come on. There's times when I'm like, this is cool, this is original, it's its own thing.
Right.
But then it has, and I know that the whole appealing thing of it is not really tied to the MCU, and I like that, but it can't help itself but be a Marvel thing, where it's like they had to shoehorn in a joke, and I was like, son of a bitch. Like when he's fighting and I went, huh, like I chuckled at it. But the more I thought about it, I was like, okay. Well, when he's fighting and he's taking all these guys, it's serious. It's not gory, but it's still pretty violent. And then Steven insists in taking over. He takes over, turns into Mr. Knight, gets stabbed a few times. He goes, "Oh, go back!" And it's like, I get that you're trying to break tension, but it's also like it feels like such a Joss Whedon lame ass joke, you know. And I forgave the Steven float like butterfly, sting like bee, my name's Steven with a V. I forgave that because it's his character, but I'm kind of in Mark's side where I'm like, I'm really fucking annoyed by Steven. Like, he is getting on my nerves.
That was an interesting part of the aspect of the episode, that somebody else was taking over. It wasn't Mark or Steven.
There's a third personality, which they had teased in the posters.
Which I believe is Jake Lockley.
Yes, the taxi driver. Mm-hmm. And he's the more violent one. He's the one that will kill.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the posters, there's the Moon Knight silhouette, there's the Mr. Knight silhouette, and then there's Oscar Isaac with like that weird white windbreaker that he was wearing in this episode. So I'm assuming that's supposed to be the third personality. But I don't know. Steven, it's just
No.
I just don't like him.
Let's let's say something really quick.
And I think
Yeah.
I'm biased. I think I'm biased because I like Mark more, and I think
Right.
that me liking Mark more makes me like Steven less. If that makes any sense.
I feel for Steven, and that's I think a
I just
testament
don't
to
want
his
him to be the main
acting.
character.
That's fair, but I feel for him. It's showing a side of dissociative identity disorder that is not talked about, which is how it affects the people's lives.
Right.
Now,
And I do love that the show is like, is Steven the main personality?
Right.
Who's
Right.
the dominant person?
and here's the other thing too: is you can
how long has he been Mark?
You can flip flop that all around. And was it Steven first? Was it Mark first?
Yeah, right.
Now in the comics, it was Mark first.
Yeah, it's always been
Okay.
Mark's always been the main guy.
Now here's the other thing too: Stephen Grant's like a millionaire or a billionaire playboy in the comics. In the show, he's a milky toast, mild mannered.
Yeah, they change him
gift
a lot
shop
in the
guy,
show,
right?
And his purpose in the
So
show is
Jake Lockley in the comics is a cab driver. Does that mean he's going to be a cab driver in the fucking show? No. In fact, he might turn out to just be a psychopath, which I'm kind of excited to see
I hope
Oscar
so.
Isaac play that.
I want to
Like
see
just
him.
an amoral fucking
I
killing
want to see him
machine.
play that, and I want to see
Yeah.
them get more violent. Like
Yeah.
I want
'Cause
blood.
We're fucking feral animals. We're
Yes.
not human.
No, we're very human.
Is that meat? I want some.
I know we're very human because in the ancient Rome they built a giant coliseum
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch people murder
True,
each other.
true, yeah. And animals.
Yes.
Or animals murder people.
So we've
Well,
always liked violence.
I don't know if I look at animals murdering. It's more like,
These were also slaves too, so
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Romans were not the best people back in the
no,
day,
you don't think so? They fucking brush their teeth with urine. What do you think?
and they fucked kids. I mean, so they weren't the best. Anyway, you know what? Again,
No arguing the point.
we still. That was us collectively doing a yikesy squeal. Like,
What?
I would not touch that topic if I were you.
You know what? I'm not gonna leave that with
Before-
a 10-foot pole, Miss Manners.
Wow, it's gonna be a good one.